everybody. As it is indicated, my name is Lolie Badenhorst. I am at the University of Cape Town in South Africa. And then that is the topic is towards the implementation of a multilingual language policy at a historically white university, the case of the University of Cape Town. I am based in South Africa. The context is that, the University of Cape Town is a historically white university, and it is English dominant with the university post-apartheid in South Africa. I'm sure you know about the apartheid. And that is the picture of the University of Cape Town historically. When you look at it, that is the Sarah Baartman Hall. And then it has various campuses and faculties, including the Center for Higher Education and Development, where I am based, and with various faculties, that is commerce, engineering and the built environment, health sciences, humanities, law, science, and the Center for Higher Education Development. The chair is not really a faculty because we don't have students, but it's classified under the faculty, although there are no students that are registered in that regard. And the student body is multilingual and multicultural, as you can see from this picture. And that there is a disconnect, and that as per the South African Constitution and the new language policy framework for public higher education institutions that was promulgated in 2020 by the country, which caters for all the African indigenous languages that should be considered, and also it embraces multilingualism. And then in 2020, the Department of Higher Education and Training promulgated this NLPH framework in South Africa, and that was supposed to be effective in 2022, and we are now in 2025. And UCT multilingual language policy was only approved in 2024. You can then see the difference between the two, that, this was effective in 2022. However, UCT only passed its multilingual language policy. It's one of the few universities that have actually linked to the national imperatives. And the approved language policy, if you want to gain access, it is available online on the university website. It is multilingual. And then these are the key questions that I wouldn't be talking about here. Now, the importance of multilingualism, especially in South Africa, that is for inclusivity and social justice. And there is a language barrier to access and success and redress in our country. And that UCT, as one of the 26 public universities in the country, but only has a small percentage that then use the other languages. And also then when I look at the epistemic justice, that is harm done to individuals or groups in their capacity as known. So these are the authors that I am citing. And then the epistemic justice is a necessity in decolonizing knowledge production, especially for higher education universities. And the linguistic marginalization, that is the systemic exclusion of indigenous languages in any informal settings, including the universities. And we still have the dominance of English in South Africa, that is epistemic justice, and it is devaluing our indigenous knowledge systems in the country and perpetuates the apartheid legacy and the English legacy. Right now, English is my 12th language, but I'm using English. But anyway, I understand that I'm in the public domain, so I'm using it. But it would be nice for me to speak either in Arabic, Portuguese, French, and so on, as I'm in France at the moment. And the policy alignment is a national mandate as per the framework that I've already cited earlier on. And that at UCT, the whole idea is to promote the intellectualization of isiXhosa because it is in the Western Cape. That's the language that is spoken by the late Nelson Mandela and the other people, prominent people. And also it is its aim to recenter the African indigenous languages and their use in academic settings, as it is the case in the other parts of the world. So it is a qualitative approach, this study, and these people, so I do have permission to use their photos, and also it is available. The story is written, and then you can read about it. And then also there was an audit that was conducted in the country for all the 26 public universities in the country by the South African Center for Digital Language Resources. And then these are the results that they showed that the multilingualism and the lack of language multilingual use. And the limitations there, you can see. In the interest of time, I wouldn't say much about it. These are the limitations. But maybe in particular is that the last one in particular, the lack of proficiency on the languages identified for development at UCT. It is the South African Sign Language, Govak, and the others. However, UCT, because it is a university that is based in the Western Cape, the main languages are English, Afrikaans, and isiXhosa. So, but these languages are identified for development. And the key findings that I will talk about is that multilingualism, the results that I'm sharing is that it is largely supported by both staff and students. And in principle, people agree that there is on the need for multilingual practices and some skepticism on resources and its successes. Some people are skeptical about it because as a country, there is the feeling that there is not enough resources available to deal with to implement the multilingual language policy. However, in some instances, for instance, in the Faculty of Health Sciences, there are compulsory courses that are done whereby they provide they have the Afrikaans and isiXhosa, and also in the humanities there is translanguaging whereby the lecturers then who are multilingual, they use lectures in order for the students to benefit and gaining access to knowledge and at university level. That is one of the success stories. And also the mother tongue access is acceptable for smaller settings, that is in the tutorials, whereby the tutors who are the peers, they assist the learners in their respective languages because some of them are multilingual, and also then during the consultation, multilingualism then is also then used. And then there is a concern, however, at undergraduate level, both at undergraduate level and also at postgraduate level, that, we may not necessarily have enough resources and other implications that are raised. And the challenges that are identified is that the Department of Higher Education allocated some funds for a 3-year period. That is sort of like the seed fund, and then to fund the universities to align their language policy to that one of the country. And then the resources that, because the complaint is that it is limited because the funding is only made available from 2024 and it dries out in 2026. And then the questions are, what happens then thereafter? And also the other challenge that the provision of translation services, like the course outlines or the descriptors and the abstract, is only at pilots, because we in my division in the multilingualism education project, we piloted with this and the creation of discipline specific terms. And also the other challenge is the non-existence of the UCT language unit. Currently, my division, it's not necessarily a unit. It was developed just to implement as a project at the moment, but we do not yet have. And only MAP is responsible for that. That is the Multilingualism Education Project where I am located. And also, the elephant in the room is still the English hegemony, whereas the student body, it is in the contrary. It's not English dominant. That is also the ideological resistance that we still find at the University of Cape Town. And also the lack of fluency in isiXhosa and the lessons that are learned from offered by a MAP, including the other divisions. And however, nevertheless, in all this, we have some success stories. And then the Faculty of Humanities and the Faculty of Health Sciences that are offering isiXhosa and Afrikaans and Humanities lecturers are using translanguaging. And the availability of discipline-specific glossaries in mechanical engineering, economics, and so on. And also the graduation ceremonies and citations where the PhD course outlines were then made. So these are all available on Google or in the public space and in the public domain. And other universities such as like the University of Stellenbosch, the University of Free State, and the University of KwaZulu-Natal. I would have hoped that my colleague from the University of KwaZulu-Natal would be joining us, but unfortunately he is not joining us because of health reasons, and Northwest University. And to leverage on these things, these are the samples of the terms that we have developed. They are available. This is in mechanical engineering. And then this one is in statistics, that is also on our website if you want to use that. And then this one is in economics. And then I wouldn't say much of the implications and the practice. That is, this is peculiar to UCT. However, I want to talk about the broader lessons in the interest of time. The broader lessons that I want to say that there is an urgent need or for a model for other historically white universities and elsewhere in the world to deal with the issues of multilingualism. And also, multilingualism must just not be a symbolic, but considered for equity, access, and redress wherever it is applicable. And monolingual, and I'm not sure what's the states in monolingual universities and their language policies, and that is why I'm here sharing my experiences. I'm really looking forward to learn from you and also to connect with colleagues in the global village. And then the questions that I would then pose to the floor are these two questions for our discussion. That is, I thought that will be that. How can universities balance global competitiveness with global linguistic justice? And the other one, what are the policy implementation, the risk of the policy and implementation? So with that, Nkosi, which is the isiXhosa saying thank you, dankie. And in South African Sign Language, I say thank you. I put my hand on the chin and I say thank you. I hope I was able to make it on time.